The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, Heckma Harrison, and Newey Scruggs.
Players Lounge, let's ride.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Training camp edition. We are here at the Star in Frisco. The team is out in Oxnard, California. That's Barry Church, former Cowboy safety. He is Heckma Harrison,
In the building.
K-State Wildcat,
Give me that.
North Texas Mean Green.
Can you give me that too?
It is.
Now
Color analyst.
Color analyst.
Color analyst. Do all that.
here. I'm just merely Newey.
No, get away. Get on with
Play
that.
no ball,
You see how?
man.
10
Wow.
times.
I didn't get the platinum.
10-time Emmy winner right here.
11.
10 times. Oh, my bad. 11. It went up. It went up.
So
It has.
Oh, man, it is.
But no,
Bill
I ain't
Jackson
suit up,
out
man. I
here.
ain't suit up. I ain't suit up. So I'm just here to facilitate. Training camp battles. We didn't get into that.
Okay,
Here, so I'm going to start with Heckma here. Heckma rose it up first. So where are you looking at first for training camp battles for the Cowboys?
I mean, think about this, guys. Right now, there are so many positions that you have question marks on. So I'm gonna leave enough meat on this bone for everybody. All right. But right now, I think it's the defensive line. You talk about this Dan Quinn and his transition with this team and the way that he's elevated them. I think the defensive line has been that one position where you've had a crowded and talented room, but you just hadn't had that guy emerge. You've had the Osa Odighizuwas.
Yeah.
You had the Jonathan Hankins that
Talk about interior
guys,
okay,
right?
okay.
Interior guys. And I think, the biggest question for me is where is Neville Gallimore going to fit into this, all right? Neville Gallimore and also Chauncey Golston, because these are rotational guys. And when you look at what they did in the draft, when you look at bringing back guys like Dante Fowler and just the rotation that they like to go with, to me, the most intriguing battle is that one with Chauncey Golston competing for that time. He was on the roster for all, he made the 53 all season long, but didn't dress out a lot of times. So, look, that's going to be intriguing, going to be interesting, especially him and his production as it's dropped off. They asked him to gain some weight. He came in as an edge. He gained that weight, but his production dropped because they did give him the same amount of snaps. So I'm interested to see how that rotation is going to evolve this year.
Yeah, that's going to be real interesting with that interior D-line. And, man, I was so high on Neville Gallimore when he first came in. I thought he was going to be that next stud, 3 technique right in there. But it just didn't kind of pan out that way. So he's definitely going to have to battle to make the roster, let alone play time, I believe. He's going to have to battle for that. But for me, my position battle, it's got to be in the secondary. It's got to be in the secondary. And we know the 2 outside corner spots are locked up. We know Gilmore's going to be there. We know Diggs is going to be there. We know they got that 3-headed monster at safety. But to me, it's going to be that nickel position where you got a young Deron Bland who came in as a rookie. And to me, he had his ups and downs, but for the most part, he played outstanding. 5 interceptions out there as a rookie. He seemed like a ball guy, understood it. The moment didn't seem too big for him out there. So you got him right there. And then you also got Jordan Lewis, who before his injury, he was playing stellar ball at that nickel position. He's a great blitzer, can understand the run fits. He can cover well, so he can cover all the bases as well. That, to me, is going to be a huge battle in that secondary. Because I know Jordan Lewis, I know his type of personality. He's not going to just want to give up that starting role. He doesn't want to be a rotational guy because, trust me, in the secondary, you got to be out there. You can't, rotate around. You got to feel the game. You got to feel what the quarterback likes to do on first, second, third down. And it's hard to rotate that. So knowing his personality and knowing the guy that Deron Bland is, that's going to be a great battle in the secondary.
Right, here's kind of the differences between what you guys spoke about. You talk about a position battle where everybody making the team.
They're going to be on the squad. Yeah, they're going to be.
What you talked about here, there's some guys on the bubble.
Oh, yeah.
So when you talk about, I thought about Quentin Bohanna.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you talk about Quentin Bohanna is here fighting for a job. Chauncey Golston's here fighting for a job. Neville Gallimore, the times that he didn't dress last year, he's out here fighting for a job. I mean, I'm thinking that, you got Mozzie Smith, first-round pick.
He'll be here.
Osa Odighizuwa, third-round pick, who was their best defensive tackle last year. Jonathan Hankins. Then you got Junior Fehoko, who Dan Quinn wanted in this draft. Safe zone.
Yeah, he good.
But over here, man, say if you're Bohanna, you Chauncey Golston, you Gallimore.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Quentin Bohanna. Last year he had some production. You saw him come in on a lot of packages. But I think that Dan Quinn his defense has been so versatile. You saw when he has that package where he's coming after you, he goes with Armstrong, Williams, Parsons, and Lawrence. I mean, he switches. He's multiple in the way. When he goes with a jumbo package, he goes with Bohanna, Hankins. Now you have Mozzie Smith, guys like that. I mean, you're absolutely correct. And that's a good problem to have.
Thank goodness.
That's a good problem to have.
Carpenter needs his tools.
Yeah, I mean, we've come from the 2020 Dallas Cowboys defense that, look, man, you had some guys that were, along the way. Come on now, New. I'm just saying we were bad up front. I don't want to call these guys.
No doubt.
But now.
That slang you put back.
No resistance. No resistance.
Skate down.
No, I wasn't going there. But what I'm saying is, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. But it's a big difference now. It really is. It's a big difference now. The team is playing. I mean, the way that they have this talent stacked up, you bring in a guy like Jonathan Hankins and you see his versatility. But I think Mozzie Smith, that draft pick, I mean, maybe it surprised people, but when you think about what he represents to this defense, if he can absolutely be that space eater that they need him to be, everything else is going to come behind that. I think the greatest weakness, even when you talk about the secondary, Deron Bland has already proved to you what he can do.
He can ball.
I mean, guys like Nashawn Wright really is. Those are the guys that you need to start saying, okay, can you take the next step? The bubble is really hot up under these guys.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, you're fine. These are guys
that's locked in.
I guess when they put the roster up, they'd be like in blue, untouchable. Like they're here. These guys.
These are made men.
Yeah, right. These guys. You're right. They're made men. They're on the team here. These other guys, like I said, you're Quentin Bohanna. Gallimore, Golston. I mean, you truly are having to put together a training camp to make this team. And from being an undrafted free agent, you got to make sure your tape is out here in these preseason games for other people to see in case they decide that they don't want you. I mean, go back to when they drafted John Ridgeway.
Yeah.
Out of Arkansas, and then they ended up letting him go, and he went on and started games for Washington. You can't got here on this D-line, and so this has been an area that must be improved upon. But when you bring in a guy like Mozzie Smith, he's here.
He's going to be here.
That just means there's one more spot that's just taken. And then when Dan Quinn says, I want Junior Fehoko, sorry.
True. Yeah.
Dan's getting with it.
No, he really is.
I mean, unless you go up there and cuddle up to Dan,
it's over with.
It's truly. So we're going to see good players get cut off this football team.
Yeah.
And we've seen that the past few seasons, and since Will McClay has been here, and that's not us blowing smoke at all. This is just the truth. When you look at the fact of who the Cowboys have been able to draft and how they've gone out and gotten free agents here, this is one of the top 3 teams in the National Football League the last 10 years at going out and getting Pro Bowl, All-Pro talent in the draft and identifying people who can play. They know how to get the talent here.
Yeah.
So the defensive line has been, especially the defensive tackle, has been an area of need. Too many people running all over the Cowboys last year. And despite beating the Bears and the Lions, those two teams had good rushing.
Over 200.
They did.
I think Green Bay went for close to 200 as well.
Exactly.
Green Bay did. I mean, Aaron Rodgers only threw 14 passes in that game until the fourth quarter. And then you go back to the Jacksonville game when Jacksonville got rolling in the second half. So stopping the run has been a must. I go back to something Warren Sapp always says. Back don't work without the front. You know the Cowboys' secondary is good.
Yeah. Right.
If you can improve the defensive line,
that's a scary sight.
But that's been the biggest question. And I guess for you, man, I think you've played with some great defensive linemen, so you know how that works, especially with your secondary.
Oh, yeah.
And the point basically that you're proving, I think when you add the players in, we're going to talk about those additions, but I think the secondary is much better when you have that pass rush. And we saw that in the 2021 when Dan Quinn's first, I mean, look, they were causing those turnovers, those interceptions. They set the record in the league with being one of those high turnover teams. But this year, it just seems as though if you can get that front line to stop and not having those 200-yard production games that they saw by some of the league's best rushers, they're going to have to shut that down because who do we keep running into? Who do we keep? One of the better rushing teams in the league. And so until we get that figured out, that's going to be our Achilles heel.
Because it's 100. You guys are 100% right. Rush and cover, they work together. And the teams that I've been on that weren't very good, that defensive line, I mean, there was holes all through there. And as a secondary guy, you're not really focused on your job. You're not focused on covering your receiver because you're like, man, if this running back slips through here, I'm going to have to make an open field tackle. So when you got a front seven, a defensive line that can control the run like that and then get after the quarterback, it allows Dan Quinn to do so much in the secondary. Guys at corner, at the safety position, they can have their eyes at the quarterback because they know that ball's got to come out fast. So you're able to get interceptions that way. And I think right now, this defensive line, like you said, it's probably the deepest it's been in years. We know the edges under attack with Parsons, with D-Law, Fowler, all those guys out there. If Mozzie Smith and that crew on the interior can get going, it could be a scary sight for this defense.
So, training camp, we've not seen them put pads on yet, the NFL rules. So I'm leaving on Monday, Tuesday. Okay, they're gonna get after it. So pads are on, and I'm looking forward to that, because this is where we start to see football. Everything we've seen now, it's been nice. It's OTA. When guys start popping, start hitting, we see things get done. So obviously, we clearly want to see what's Mozzie Smith got. I want to see what Junior Feoko's got. I want to see if Josh Ball makes the improvement on the offensive side of the football that Mike McCarthy believes he can. They love Waletzko. So Matt Waletzko, over here, another offensive tackle that they've drafted. He was having a good camp last year till he got hurt, dealt with the shoulder. So what does he do now? This, to me, is where you start to really make your football team December ready, because I'm sorry, Church, in today's world, when you add 17 games, heck, guys going to be hurt.
Right.
It's a fact.
You have to have depth in the National Football.
No, I take you back to last season. Jason Peters started at left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. A 40-year-old left tackle. So we know what it's like when you don't have the trust in the depth that you have. And Josh Ball has been given an opportunity to continue to get better. He's been on the pup, whatever it was. Well, let's go too with the shoulder injury as you spoke about. But that's the one thing, and I think that's why this whole holdout situation that they're having to deal with Zach is unnerving, because you recognize you need your unit playing together right now. You need these guys to come into the season rolling. You don't need any disruption between that unit.
Not at all.
I'm not worried about Mark.
Zach will get done. They got to. There's no other way.
I'm really not worried. If I'm Zach right now, it's gonna take a little bit of time.
You talk about depth,
right now, I'll see in August, but I think this is excellent from the standpoint you can get some guys some playing time in here right now, and when Zach is here, Zach will be Zach Martin. You know, they can go
his play won't fall off.
Right, go ahead and take the measure.
I'm not at all worried about his play.
But I want to see guys. I want to see guys practice right now. Get some reps. Get out there. Show people what you can do at those, especially within those guards and tackle spots. I know Terrence Steele, they're saying looks good, but let's see how good you look when you put on the pads. Tyron Smith is expected to be the left tackle, but
best swing tackle in the game.
But we know at the end of the day, Tyron Smith is not going to play 17 football games.
I'm just saying, the depth we have on that line.
Let that slide.
Yeah, let that go, man.
We got the best swing tackle in the game, man.
So to me, O-line reps with a new O-line coach.
True.
By the way,
got rid of your man, so.
Which I was kind of,
Joe Philbin is not. So for me, that's what I'm looking forward to when I get to camp. I want to go and see the pads pop and see what guys can do. Really looking forward to that more than anything.
That's real football. Right now you got on, like you say, you got on jerseys and shorts, and everybody looks great in shorts out there. You got workout warriors. Everybody looks amazing. But when you put the pads on, that extra weight, that heat, you're hitting back and forth. That's when we see real ball.
And then you have a defense with all the experience that they have. I worry if they're even going to be able to get reps off with this defense, the way that they're coming back in Dan Quinn's system. Man, this is going to be difficult for that offensive line. They're going to get a lot of reps, and guys like Tyler Smith is going to get all the way. Biotish, guys like that, they're going to get a lot of reps. So, I think as much as you want to see guys like Josh Ball take the next step, be that backup if we need them, that's necessary. You bring up an important point because you want to see these guys develop, but bigger than that, Tyler Smith, in his second year, he had a good rookie season, but I think we all feel that there's a level to his game that can even get better, especially with them solidifying that he's going to be your left guard.
So he's going to be the guard, right? So he's penciled in at the guard position.
Yes, he's your guard.
Okay.
Yes. So you got Tyron Smith over at left tackle. These draft picks have to start to show you something. I don't know there's some folks who wanted to see the Cowboys use higher picks, an offensive line, and they're like, we took Ball, we took Waletzko, let's see what they can do. So Ball's first year was wiped out through injury. Last year was his first year playing.
He's
moments out there where you're like, But this now is year 2. We've got to see something. Well, let's go. This is going, first year gone. Now, this is the second. Let's start to see something. Kelvin Joseph, how do you improve? Jalen Tolbert, how do you improve? I mean, you're looking at this team. For me, when I'm going out there, I'm looking at where these draft picks that they've taken, who you say, okay, what are we seeing? Tom Landry used to say, by year 3, we have to see something. And that was what Bill Parcells also went by with, too. We've got to see something. So that's my main thing, is really looking at these guys that they at one point in time said, we believe in you. Nation Wright, okay, what are you going to do? Because you played in this league, by year 3, they have a thought process about who you are. And for some of these guys that had basically a health year and didn't play, like well, let's go on a ball. They need to see something. Now, Kelvin Joseph, I need to see something this year.
Yeah.
Because
can't just be on special teams either. I mean, even though he did his thing on special teams, he made a lot of plays on special teams, but they drafted in second round?
Jabril Cox.
Supposed to go in there.
Tell me if you heard that before. Jabril Cox, another guy that needs to up his play. But I mean, you're absolutely right. But then think about the guys that are second-year guys like Marquise Bell that's getting an opportunity now to play because of injury. Israel Mukuamu, obviously, you're one of the first guys that's called Israel Mukuamu and said, look, this guy, his production is there. And I think that Dan Quinn loves his play as that backup guy, the other guy that add that depth. But there are other guys like Marquise Bell that are very intriguing. Like he was on the 53 all season long, healthy scratches, not able to get on the field. How do you incorporate guys like that? Because you just can't hoard that talent.
For guys like that, like with Kwame, he's like a Swiss Army knife out there. And Dan Quinn loves guys that can have, position flex. He can play nickel. He can play safety. He can do all that stuff. Hopefully, Marquise Bell can do the same thing. We'll see what happens.
I think of Bell as someone who, he played at Florida A&M.
Yeah.
You're making that jump here, and it takes some time.
It's not easy.
So many times we just want guys to just jump in here and go. Jerry Rice's first year was a struggle.
Yeah.
Well, Troy Polamalu's first year with the Steelers, it was a struggle. These two guys have turned out to be Hall of Fame players, but so many times if a guy's not doing it from day one, he's not this, he's not that.
No, right.
It's just not how life works.
No.
Forget football, how life works. It's an adjustment. And coming from Florida A&M, making the adjustment, figuring out what Dan wants, and the other part, Agma, is there a lot of these guys who have to learn how to do simple things like learn how to sleep, eat, the way you go about being a professional.
Hydrate.
Like there's a lot of stuff that comes into to being a football player that it takes certain guys, a minute to get to. Ezekiel Elliott, boom, came in here, ran away with it. Dak, as a rookie, ran away with it. It's not like that for everyone. I think too many times fans want that. If you're a player is not that, then they want to say the guy's a bust. He's not any good. It's just not how it works for everyone.
Look at Terrence Steele. I mean, when he came in that rookie year and they threw him into the fire, look how much he struggled out there. I mean, he was on the bubble going into that second year. Is he going to make the team? Is he not? We saw he, dedicated himself to get better at his craft, and he went out there and he had a heck of a second year. So hopefully he can follow that up after this ACL injury. But to me, that's just an example of guys that, come in, start out slow, but have the ability to develop.
And become comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is... I'll give it a baseball terms. I was talking to Marcus Semien and even Corey Seager. They signed those big deals with the Rangers. And it took them a year. They talked about after. It took a year to get comfortable. Well, imagine you just going from playing SWAC ball to coming up to the National Football League, man. That's a gap. It's a difference. It's a jump. And even for you, coming from Toledo to come here, man, there's a jump. I think about Tony Romo. Tony Romo, a lot of people forget, was the Walter Payton Player of the Year at Eastern Illinois, which is, their Heisman at that level. Took Tony a minute to figure this thing out here. So we always want to, boom, we want a microwave society here on everything. You can't do players like that. And as long as Dan Quinn keeps saying, I like the player, then I'm a role model.
And I think for me, what we're pointing out is just guys getting opportunities now in training camp.
Love it.
And you look at guys like Dak. When, the opportunity rose, what did he do? He rode with it. Yeah, he took full advantage. And there are guys on the roster that right now, due to injury, are getting that opportunity. Marquise Bell is just one of them. And he's in a long list of guys that have to take advantage. When a guy goes down, you have to show what you have. Kelvin Joseph is in that same is in that same name bracket.
Yeah, so Donovan Wilson down a little bit, so that's where Bell's going to get his opportunity. Zach Martin, your right guard out, so that means opportunity for other people. So take advantage of these reps and this opportunity to show your wares and go. Now we have less preseason games. Instead of having 4, you've got 3.
Yeah.
So there's more urgency to make these training camp practices, and then you only have so many padded practices to count. So those are some of the things that I look at here. When we come back, the impact to guys that they have imported into this football team, I absolutely love. I had a thought of what I hope they could do. I'm seeing it already. Had a full training camp in Oxnard. Barry Church, Heck Harrison, I'm New Research. Danny McCray out on assignment. He'll be back with us next week right here on the Players Lounge.
Want to use the Cowboys locker room's favorite products? Check out the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, what's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Radio, Players Lounge, Players Lounge. Barry Church, former Cowboy safety. Scruggs, Danny McCray with he's on assignment, so he's out working.
I got to read too if you want it.
Oh, read away.
My bad. The Dallas Cowboys Training Camp 2023 is here, brought to you by American Airlines. Watch the team practice on select dates from today through August 15th in sunny Oxnard, California. Admission is free. For more information, visit DallasCowboys.com/training camp.
All right, if you go on training camp, go DFW to Santa Barbara.
That's the way to go.
It's quicker, but is it more expensive?
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
He ain't worth it. See?
All right, okay.
Knew you had you broke
Hands
out
up,
here.
hands up.
Knew you had you
I'm
broke
gonna
out
tell you
here.
this. I've done the LAX. Go to LAX, man.
Oh, it's like that.
Rental car place off-site. It's
I hate
it's a
that.
challenge, man.
hate
It's a challenge.
off-site.
Big old international airport, man. It's a challenge trying to get through LAX. Getting your bags, all that. Then you got to make the drive from the 405, one of America's busiest freeways, the
facts.
405 to the 101. Then you got to go all the way up. So by the time you talk about just one time we were at the Hertz. We had a car. Somebody snatched our car.
See, that ain't it.
So
That ain't
3-hour
it
wait.
at all.
Now, the only good thing about going to the LAX, hit the Roscoe.
Yeah, y'all know he's gonna be that chicken and waffle.
Which Roscoe's is the question?
But it's ain't going
Right on.
Okay.
right over there.
The
right there.
Obama special.
But I don't need it that bad. Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara is where it
Just
is?
saying, Just saying. Plus, that airport is just.
Pristine.
It's the experience.
All
It is. So I'm not gonna say what I know what the costs are off the top of my head.
Sounds pricey.
Because the TV station, I was on their card, so I just booked it.
Sounds pricey.
It was great. Rental cars right off site.
Right.
So you just walk on, get your bag, walk on over there. It's right on site. So it's easy. It's hit the easy button.
There it is.
So I'm trying to get people out.
Traveling with Nui.
I'm trying to get people out of camp on the easy button. So.
Nah, man, I mean, you've been everywhere. So you're giving people the right sound advice. I mean, I'm listening.
Or Burbank. That's your thing, because Burbank's in the valley. So you go to Burbank now, usually you got to make a stop. But when you hit Burbank, rental car place, you can walk to it, and you're already on the 101, so you avoid the whole 405 and you go straight on up to camp. So
that works.
If you value time, in LA, you never know, it's an accident, something set you back. So you value your time, boom. Like the players fly in LAX. You got to make that. They'll tell you it's a long bus ride all the way up there.
And you're flying what? American Express?
Oh,
American Airlines, excuse me. Okay, all right. On the American Express.
That's on the American.
All right.
It's on the company car. That's all.
That's it.
On the Amex.
Yes. All right, two players that the Cowboys got through trades that I absolutely love. We all love that they brought them in, but I love the impact they're making already. Stephon Gallimore, former Defensive Player of the Year. We saw him playing last year with the Colts when the Cowboys played the Colts.
Picked off Prescott.
He was an impact player there. And then Brandon Cooks. And it's interesting, Gallimore and Cooks, I said Stephon Gilmore and Cooks both played for the Patriots, played on a Super Bowl team together. And here they are with the Cowboys. And you've got Diggs saying, all right, I'm already looking at him. He's up at 6 o'clock doing the way he's doing. And then Stephon did him. It still reminds me of Rodney Harrison. He was checking Diggs for what he was eating.
Yeah.
Diggs nailing some gummy bears. Like,
Got the gummies.
right.
When you're young, you think you can eat anything.
So in the Patriots locker room, Rodney Harrison and Teddy Bruschi would check the young guys who brought in fast food. Oh, that's what you eat? That's going to help us win? You doing that? So having a guy who's an established veteran, Super Bowl champion, with a young player that you just gave a boatload of money to, who has a really good career ahead of him in Diggs, and this guy makes him sharper. Wow.
Yeah.
And
Why not?
When I wanted Von Miller here, and the Cowboys decided not to do it and go to Buffalo, I saw what Miller helped do for Aaron Donald. I mean, it helps when you have a guy who's won a ring, who knows what to do. I mean, we're not looking at Stephon and just questioning anything about him. This guy's a baller.
He's without a doubt a baller. He's a pro's pro. He's a technician when you talk about the cornerback position out there and what he brings to the table. Man-to-man, zone. He can do it all. And if he can just pass down 10, 15% of that knowledge to Diggs and make him that much better, it's an investment that the Cowboys needed to make. And this guy, like you said, he's going in there already checking what this young guy's eating out there. Are you eating the right stuff? That stuff's going to slow you down. This will put energy in your system. When you listen to a pro's pro like that, you can only get better. Because, I mean, coaches, they can tell you as much as they want to tell you, but 9 times out of 10, if it ain't about, the footballs and X's and O's, it's going to go through one ear and out the other. But when you have your peers, a guy that's a champion, that's already done it, has been to the highs of the highs, and you want to get your level to that level, you're going to listen to a guy like that. And then when you talk about Cooks, what he brings to the table offensively, I mean, he can open up so much more for CeeDee Lamb. Not only about, the technician as far as route running and all that stuff, but when you got a guy that can open up the top like he can,
right.
A safety, like I'm looking at Cooks like I gotta get on top of this. That leaves all that underneath intermediate area for CeeDee Lamb, and when you get him with the ball in his hands, he can make magic happen. So to me, both of these additions are huge additions, not only for their productivity, but for the younger guys underneath them. It should be a solid contribution to this team.
As you're saying, I'm thinking of a quote that Warren Buffett had, and he said, you see who's swimming naked when the tide goes in, right? Yeah. So that's what happened to the front office last season at the wide receiver position, because either overconfident in CeeDee Lamb's ability, or just gross negligence on the part of what they thought they had depth-wise last season. Your second productive receiver was Noah Brown. He also had responsibilities on special teams as well. I mean, look, obviously you couldn't have imagined that Jalen Tolbert would have the mental issues that he had last season, but that wide receiver group was underwhelming. Brandon Cooks come in, and automatically he adds a dimension to that offense that I don't think they've had in the last 2 years, especially since Amari Cooper. And all I'm saying is I think that he's the piece that can add that confidence that you need to a CeeDee Lamb. When you talk about a big brother role, a guy that's going to be there for you on the other side, Look, man, we talked all season about this defense and what you needed, especially after the 2021 season that Diggs had. I mean, historic, 11 interceptions. On the other side, there was an opportunity for Anthony Brown. He didn't take advantage of it, all right? No interceptions last season, and there was a lot that this defense needed. And as we sit here right now, had they not made that move, all right, this front office basically comes in and say, look, we have an opportunity to get a guy that's Defensive Player of the Year, a guy that also has done what Stephon Diggs has done by setting the interception record and holding the most interceptions. He is like that.
He is.
He is like that. And look, this is not going out on a limb when I talk about him and his resume. It makes him the best cornerback on this roster. People don't want to look, because of his seniority, what he's done, the skins that he has on the wall, you have to give that to him. And if Diggs is willing to learn from a guy that's done all of that, think about how good he can be this season.
Yeah. And that's huge, being coachable. I mean, that's just one of the things that I love about Diggs. Because, I mean, he could be one of those guys that can go out there, I got 11 picks. I know the game. I know everything about it. I don't need your help. I'm the top dog in this secondary.
Right.
But for him to go ahead and sit there and say, bring in Gilmore, open up to him. I'm gonna listen to what he got to say because I'm trying to get my game to Defensive Player of the Year type caliber. It just goes to show you the type of corner and the type of man that Diggs is. And I mean, the sky's the limit with this guy. If he can go and kind of be under the wing of Gilmore out there and grow as a corner, the sky's the limit.
But Barry, let me ask you this, Barry. I mean, especially when you bring in a guy like Gilly, he's seen it all. He's done it all. And I was really trying to talk about what you alluded to on just his ability to play zone, play man. How big is that for Dan Quinn when you have a piece like Stephon Gilmore that can play so multidimensional?
It's huge. It's because when we talked about earlier, Dan Quinn loving the guys that are kind of like Swiss Army knives. And when you talk about Stephon Gilmore, I know he's not going to go inside and play nickel or go play safety. Right. But as a corner, he can do it all for you. You don't have to say, all right, man, this is a man guy, or he's not a man guy. We got to have a safety over the top. You ain't got to worry about that with him. Man-to-man coverage, all right, you're going to lock that guy down. Let me go ahead and shift my safeties onto the other side. Let me do some different things on this side because I know you can hold it down over there. It's just going to open up this defense so much more. And then when you have a pass rush like they do here, I mean, just having eyes back on the quarterback, it's going to create so many turnovers for this defense. I'm telling you, this addition right here, to me, it was my favorite one. I mean, Cooks was right there, but Gilmore being in that secondary, the things he can do with Dan Quinn by his side defensively, it's going to be huge.
Gilmore is one of the few players that Bill Belichick wrote a check to get.
That's true.
Think about him, Darrelle Revis.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it very often. He hadn't missed when he brought him in, and they all got rings. So I look at Gilmore and I just say, yeah, this is good. Piggybacking on what you talked about with Cooks as well, how about the fact that now this means Gallup should be one-on-one in coverage?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Okay, so
a year healthier.
So Michael Gallup, he says mentally he's ready to go. He feels good. If Cooks has got him going down here and taking safeties away and Lamb is over here, this young man should be eating.
On number 3 corners. And he should be able to go out there and dominate those one-on-one matchups each and every week. And if he's not able to do that, then we got to start looking at Gallup as a player. But being one-on-one, because there's too many options out there for defenses to say, all right, we got to double team him, let's put pressure on him. Gallup's out there one-on-one against a third corner. You're talking about maybe even a rookie, sometimes even a practice squad guy that they got to bring up.
Right.
He should be able to dominate those week in and week out, and hopefully the game plan has that in there.
But just talk about what numbers the expectation for Michael Gallup. Last year, Noah Brown did 555.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all think that Michael Gallup is capable of doing more than that. 3 touchdowns for Noah Brown. I'm sure we all think that Michael Gallup can do more than that, and he should. You know, that's the thing about him that I think is so maddening. Look, you know that he's been injured. He had a lot to come back from.
Sure.
But right now with Brandon Cook, there's no reason why he shouldn't be eating. No reason at all.
That's my thing. It's like, okay, you really, there are no excuses. This should be a very productive year. And as Dak goes through his progressions here, you know, he should be open. And then you start to look at what can Jake Ferguson do. You know, if those 3 receivers are in a route, Jake Ferguson's another guy who should be able to have a very productive year. And as much as Dalton Schultz brought, I can't see how Ferguson is not able to do the same thing because they're virtually, in a lot of ways, the same player. So that's another guy. If Cook, first off, Cook's got to stay healthy. That's always been the issue with him in his career is the health and the hamstrings and those type of things. But if Cooks is healthy, there are a lot of options out here for this football team.
Explosive.
But bringing in those two guys who have played in the Super Bowl stage, who have played with really outstanding Hall of Fame talent in their careers, this should help everyone. And if I'm Dak Prescott, and I'll be interested to ask Dak when I get a chance to talk to him one-on-one, what does he pick Cooks' brain about? Considering that he has played with Drew Brees, Tom Brady.
But did you hear the interview yesterday with Dak when he was talking about Brandon Cooks and just saying how Brandon has taken the reins to have that relationship with him to get that synergy with all of the wide receivers? So that's just leadership on him. You know, guys just without ego coming into a new situation and saying, look, in order for me to put my imprint on this team, I need to get with the number one guy. Who is that? That's Dak. And they've been, you know, on these leadership, you know, going out of town together, doing all those things that they need to do as a team. But I think he's a wealth of knowledge, especially playing for a Bill Belichick. When you talk about, I mean, you just brought up an absolute great point when we were talking about Stephon Gilmore and Belichick. I mean, you think about Belichick for all those years, all the guys that he's had, the Lawyer Malloys of the world.
That he's let go.
Exactly. That he's let go.
Ain't no re-up.
Ain't no coming back. You know, so that tells you what a guy like that thinks about him. So I just thought that was a great point. I just couldn't let that go.
Hey, we want you. We're about to for you to come on in
come back.
Because you can do these things that I need. And as you talked about here, you're a guy like Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator. Okay, he's here. I don't have to worry about it. In a passing league. No
That's
less.
what it is.
In a passing league. So I'm a big fan of the additions here. And I go back to what we talked about to start the show in the position battles. If you can get the defensive tackle spot straight, if you can make it 2nd and 9 for guys or 2nd and 10,
yeah, you're gonna get the best version of Stephon Gilmore.
You know what? You know, folks can be eating. There's some be eating back there. They used to have Thurman's thieves back in the 70s, 80s around here. You could have that kind of defensive backfield where dudes, Everson Walls back there. Yeah, man. So Dennis Thurman and the rest of the DBs were able to eat because what the Cowboys have. Had a guy like Randy White up front. You had Harvey Mark. You had
great
Charles
Harvey
Jones.
Mark.
You know, the beautiful Harvey Mark.
Good.
You know, you had guys getting to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And so if you've got that, then you can do on the other side. And look, in this division here, you're gonna have to stop the run. And you know these other teams here, they've got some good front lines too. So you're gonna have to match these other folks out here.
To get back to the receivers real quick, do you think a guy like Cooks can bring along, you know, the Semi Fajokos of the world, the Jalen Tolberts, and can help them step up their game a little bit and realize maybe it's not all offense. Like maybe you got to cut your teeth somehow in the special teams. That's how Cooks started out in the league. I mean, returner, doing that special team stuff. Do you think he can kind of tap in and get into those young guys' head a little bit?
If they smart, they just follow his moves.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just, hey, the recipe for success is just following somebody that's been successful, Dewey. That's why I'm following you. Yeah. So I'm just saying, you know, there's a situation like that where I think that you're absolutely right. I believe that he can, and I don't see any reason why a guy like Semi Fajoko and Jalen Tolbert, you want so bad for these guys to flourish and come into their own because Semi Fajoko was definitely not thought of as a special teams guy. He put his best foot forward and made the roster like that. Jalen Tolbert, that's his only way is to be with Bones Fossil. You know, he has to find his way onto special teams, but at the same time, that may not have been the way that he envisioned himself when his NFL dream started. But right now, that's where he is.
So you got to be.
Oh, bro, this is it. Sorry. Come
on, brother Newell. Come on, man. Come on, brother.
This ain't no suggestion.
We try to pass out a little hope right now, Newell. Come on, man.
That's the thing. Ain't no. Hey, you may want to think about that, bro. This is it. It's come with the meal. Ain't no suggestion. Punt team. Calling your name.
Punt team ready.
You didn't see it like that.
There you go. Stand up. I mean, this is kickoff. I mean, where you go? You know? I mean, you may want to room with Calvin Jones and figure that thing out.
That's true.
But we are one injury away from those guys that we're talking about being, you know, a starter.
In a 17-game season, yes. In the Jacksonville game, all of a sudden, it was the Green Bay game. Your man's Your man skidded down, and next thing you know, it was that day.
Hey, we finished it. Guys, like, we don't remember. Like, I think you bring that up as far as the roster. Xavier Rhodes was on the roster for a playoff game. You know, 30.
He was there
Yeah,
for
I
a
mean,
hot
people
second,
forget
yeah.
about that. I mean, that depth is so important. So I guess we're talking about Jalen Tobin in the right terms because, you know,
You're going to look
it could be
at some point.
a starter.
They're going to call you. They're going to need you. I go back to Mike McCarthy's Super Bowl team. Man, that thing was filled with injuries. I mean, they had a great run game with Ryan Graham, but he got hurt earlier in the year, and it was James Starks here at the end. And you had Woodson who got hurt during the game, and then you had Donald Driver who got hurt during that game as well. So, you know, you're going to need all your pieces to get this thing done. And to Mike's credit, he talks about that all the time. Hey, we needed everybody to win. And yes, it's easy to just point to Aaron Rodgers, and he was healthy, but still, everything around him, he had to make all those different adjustments, and they ended up winning. So, pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what they can do. Hey, let's get one more break in here on Players Lounge. We come back. I want to get into a former Cowboy assistant coach who, keeping it real, he kept it real. He straight up kept it real. Barry Church, Heckman Harrison, New York, this is Players Lounge.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, what's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
Want to use the Cowboys locker room's favorite products? Check out the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Players Lounge, right here on DallasCowboys.com. Ready? Got another read?
I do.
Boom, read it.
All right, the official 2023 Dallas Cowboys Star Magazine training camp preview is now available. This year's edition features scouting reports, position analysis, a pull-out schedule poster, and articles from your favorite Cowboy writers. Get your training camp preview today at DallasCowboys.com/star.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Heckman Harrison, Barry Church, Danny McCray is on assignment, getting some work done with the Cowboys organization. He will join us next week. I will be out in Oxnard, California next week. Sean Payton, former play caller here with the Cowboys under Bill Parcells, sat out last year. You know, left the Saints, sat out. Now he's back. He's with the Denver Broncos. And Sean Payton told the truth about Nathaniel Hackett and that coaching staff. They got fired in season in Denver. So it was my worst coaching job I'd ever seen. It was bad. We were up there. We were up there for a scrimmage last year. And I told my boys over the altitude radio, and I was like, man, I don't think this, your coach, man, I ain't sold on him. I'm like, you know, he didn't call any plays in Green Bay. Last time he was calling plays, he was in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah, I was there. We went to the AFC Championship, but defensively. So.
And how'd you lose?
Oh, you right. You right about
How'd you
that.
lose?
No points in the second half.
Okay.
That'll do it. That'll do
There you
it.
go. And you know, I covered his dad when he was the head coach of USC. It was tragic. Then Pete Carroll came in after that. We kind of saw what happened. Yeah, good luck, guys. And it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And Sean Payton came out and said it was terrible. Basically, we're not doing anything they did last year. And I thought Sean, in telling the truth, also did something pretty clever. He put it on himself. Don't talk about that. They had bad coaching. I'm a good coach. So now, guess what he has to be?
A good coach?
Yeah.
There you go. I like it.
Well, I thought you were petty. that was petty. That was. Come on, man. Nathaniel Hackett. What happened to the coaching brotherhood? And I mean, you talk about a throw a man under the bus kind of deal. Come on, Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, he didn't hit the brake at all.
All gas.
You know what I thought of? See, you too young to remember this. And when third base came up, Pop Goes the Weasel and attacked Vanilla Ice. That's what that was.
Pop Goes the Weasel.
Pop Goes the coach.
Yeah.
But why?
Now they got him.
Why feel the need to?
I just told you
What was the question asked? Was it like, hey, what you think about Nathaniel Hackett?
He went out of his way.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
and another thing.
you have to understand the master interviewer had him. Jared Bell. USA
Okay, yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Got him.
So, Jared gonna make you feel comfortable.
like we boys talking.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he done told everything.
No.
This was a terrible coaching job.
Like, man.
You don't say. And next thing you know, watch Jared when he comes to town and he gets Jerry. We're all there. Next thing you know, here's Jared over there with Jerry. They just one-on-one. And next thing you know, he gonna write something. Wow, he got all that. He's a master. And he got all that from Sean. But our guy, Russell Wilson, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride. He's taking the pressure off. They say, hey, no, Russell's had a bad coach. This is smart on Sean's part to go ahead and do what he did.
Russell was bad last year.
Yes.
I'm not saying
He
like
was.
I think he'll have a way better year this year. He was bad
That was
last
a
year.
bad outfit, man. Overall, and the Broncos are a proud organization. Remember how bad it was with Nolan? Well, imagine that on both sides.
No, it was
the whole organization. That's what they had in Denver, man. Who fires a first-year coach in the season and they new owners? That's how bad it was, man. It was horrible.
But he could have took the high road. He could have, we're focusing on this year. It's about what I'm doing with the Broncos.
Tell the truth.
He did exactly that. But everybody knows it was a train wreck last season, and there's no way to defend even Russell Wilson's play last season as a veteran. Man, it was bad all across the board. But man, what Sean Payton did, I thought, look, it's bold. He said it with his chest, but he threw that man under the bus.
Out of pocket.
And hey, I just hope, be careful what you say sometimes.
It'll be okay.
Yeah, what did he get, 100 mil?
It'll be okay. He went out there and he talked about, the Jets like the Jets.
That's another thing. Like, come on. You could have left it at, Hackett in his situation, and he wasn't a good that man said, we ain't trying to be the Jets.
The Eagles got the dream team. I'm like, oh, my gosh, it's a dream team. They ain't do anything. He was correct.
We don't want to win the offseason.
By the way, that was Vince Young who called it the dream team. Go Vince. He's right.
They played week 5.
He didn't lie. Sean Payton didn't lie.
And Hackett wasn't bad. He didn't do a great job out there. But he also, didn't say nothing about Russell throwing all that garbage.
Because I told you what he's trying to do. He's trying to protect him. He talked about, hey, Jets on Hard Knocks are getting all this pub here. What happens? And we've seen this time and time again in this league.
Yeah.
You start getting all this pub and all this talk. Talk doesn't win football games. Yeah. It doesn't win.
And I think it's completely different for the Jets, man, especially when you look at their defense. They got come on now. That is an official defense that they have over there. Offensively, that was the only piece that they needed was the quarterback. We know how vital having a solid leadership.
Who you got winning that division?
Why are you throwing me under the?
I got Miami.
You got Miami.
I got Miami winning that thing.
You got Miami.
Yeah, I got Miami winning.
I would say Buffalo.
Man.
I would say Buffalo too.
Okay, so all this, and we got wild cards, right? All this hype for we're talking wild card teams.
But are the Broncos going to do anything this year? I don't know.
I'm sorry, as long as Kansas City's in that division,
that's
playing a wild card too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Playing for number 2.
And people be happy about it. So, I'll probably be a wild card over your boys. down there. Chargers.
You like
I got
that?
no
K
faith.
Moore gonna get us right, man. You had no faith in K Moore? Oh, the Raiders done. They cooked. The Raiders is cooked.
So who's playing for second?
You like that? I'll tell you, knew he liked that kind of stuff, boy.
K Moore, y'all sleeping on K Moore, man. Y'all sleeping on K Moore. Y'all seen what he was able to do
slept
here.
on him? He was here, but what do you mean? We got a bird's eye
Everybody
view.
talking about throwing under the bus. Everybody and their mom threw K Moore under the bus.
Denver or the Chargers? Who would you take to finish the second behind Kansas City right now?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go with the Chargers.
I'm about to say that ain't even
I'm gonna have
question.
to. Ooh,
We ain't even a question.
Brandon Staley over Sean Payton.
That ain't even a question. The Chargers.
I mean, after
they
seeing what the
littered.
Broncos did last season, you put me on the spot. I'm Chargers.
Let's put a Smoothie King shake on it.
Well, I sure ain't putting dinner on it.
I'll put
That's what I said, Smoothie King.
Smoothie King right now.
Smoothie King. Write this down.
Hold on.
Smoothie
Come on.
King.
And my boy got his money. He's good. You know what? He might throw for.
I will loop Danny McCray into it. So there we go. We got our 2023
There it is. That's the first one. That's the first
who
one.
Finishes? Who finishes better? The Denver Broncos or the Chargers? You guys roll them up.
Chargers winning the division.
Oh wow.
They winning the division.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Drinking on a Friday.
Yeah.
I think he's 3-1 against what's his name over there in KC? Pat Mahomes. I think he's like 2-1, 3-1 against him. Yeah, that's a wrap. They winning this division.
Okay, all right.
They winning this
That's
division.
very true.
K Moore.
It's Heckma Harrison. I'm Newy
Number
Scruggs.
one offense.
This is Players Lounge. We'll talk to you
Past
next
3
week,
years.
Right here on
Don't let me
Dallas
down, K
Cowboys.
Moore. Don't let me down, man.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!